I spent a little time in the last video talking about the steering solution and the steering column, but I wanted to go through that in a little bit more detail because I made some real progress and I think it's a pretty cool solution. So what we have here is what I pulled off of that MR2. So that 1985 MR2 that was the donor also for the rack. And while I was there, I pulled all the steering components out because I thought I might need those. And sure enough, here they are. So what you had was very similar. This is what was in the Celica that goes inside of here. That's a very similar setup for the MR2. There would have been a sleeve for this as well. And these are the same. They match. And this was on the end of here, welded on. And in order to get it off, we cut it to see what was in there. And when we cut it, you could kind of see, well, this video is not going to show it. There's some splines in there, but we could see those in any case. So what they had done is actually press fitted this together. You can see those. Let's see if I can get those splines in there. You see that? Right, so it's not spline, that's press fit right in there. So after some grinding and we even put some tack welds on here to hold it in the vise and some very enthusiastic pounding, this came free. So now this is out. So now I have a piece that I can put onto the Celica collapsible steering column, I guess they call this, and this is the sleeve. I don't know what exactly it's called, but in any case, it's the part that runs in the inside, which I'm very excited about. So this can go in there. I haven't quite figured out how that's going to happen yet, but maybe that's a press or something like that. Get that down and just seat that in there. But we also had the other challenge that you have on these cars when this fits inside of here and pokes out, it flops around. There's nothing holding it. The steering linkage or the steering box that was mounted to the frame rail of the car used to hold it steady. So there was no need for anything in here. There was no bearing and there was nothing. It was just empty space. So that's not going to work in our application because we're coming from this directly down to the rack. Something's got to hold it in there. So I went to McGuire Bearing in Kent, Washington, and I just brought this box of goodies. And this guy there, Garrett, shout out to Garrett. That was awesome. So we thought through this, and he created this. So this is an oil-impregnated brass pressed into a steel collar so that this can fit on there and can weld, so I can weld to that steel and that can spin in there. So that is really nice. So that's going to come together like that. And then we put the top back on and everything together, and this thing should be ready to go in. So I wanted to share that. I thought that is a pretty cool solution. The MR2 parts can be made to fix this. This bearing, of course, was a custom thing that was made, but you can do a similar thing. It could just be all brass and even sit in there. There's actually a shoulder back here that something could sit against, and then you can just you could do a myriad of things. You could just like little punch down there to hold it in place, or you could do spacers or whatever. But as long as you have something in there, that'll work. So, so I guess the next step is to get this pressed in there with the bearing on first, and then put some welds on there, and we should have a steering solution. There's an expression, one solution brings another problem. And I tell you, it's just so true. But, I mean, I guess the way to spin that on its head is one solution brings another opportunity. So I got the steering column mounted. And I mean, that looks awesome in that this clears really nicely in there. I mean, that sits perfectly. And you can see the bearing. You know, that's not welded yet. It's just stuck together. The trick is this spline piece is too short, fractionally. Doesn't, I mean, I can get it in there, but it's only like 1 millimeter, so it's not going to work. So what does that mean? Well, that piece is fit in there, that splined piece. Maybe it means getting a new piece in there or something. I don't know. Haven't figured that out yet. But I mean, this will work. Actually looks pretty sweet. All right, well, we'll be back when we get that one fixed. All right, it took a little bit of convincing. I was able to get a crowbar in just under there in the vise and pop that thing up. So there we go. That's off. Let's take a look at this. I do believe that will work very nicely. So there's obviously this little rubber pad on both of these. The super one, it's obviously higher, but that's fine. I don't even think it's really needed. The way that's going to sit in there, it's never going to come sliding out. So in any case, I need another inch on this guy, so that pulls me back to somewhere here. I'll cut this, stuff it back in there, and we should have a solution. Houston, we have a solution. That is awesome.